Welcome to Iron Truth with your hosts, Tampa Joe, Magnum Mike, Proud Lion Brian, and Dre Day. Now, Iron Truth.
Welcome to Iron Truth. I'm Magnum Mike. My man, Big Joe. We got Dre Day and Proud Lion Brian. So, what's tonight's topic? Are we doing?
My turn. Yeah, my topic.
Yeah. What's your topic for tonight?
Victimhood, playing the victim.
Playing the victim.
Yeah. And
Now,
the
could you
cost
elaborate
of it.
on that a
Yeah,
little
of
bit?
course. The cost of it, first of all, playing the victim is that you're made into one. You know, in a world like this, there are predators everywhere. Form of women, take advantage of you, form of other men. I mean, you can also talk about it in business form.
Oh yeah, victimhood is a market.
Absolutely.
A problem always has to have a solution, and the minute you claim the victim, well, you're a brand now.
Well, not just that, also a business owner claiming victimhood. For example, you guys ever watched Kitchen Nightmares?
Mm-hmm.
You guys watch Kitchen Nightmares?
I've never seen
I have. When Gordon Ramsay just comes into a business.
Oh, Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the most
Yeah.
famous ones, and I think like the only one he ever gave up on, was that Amy's Baking Company, whatever it was, and the Indian guy and the really white making pizzas. They were basically blaming all these terrible comments on their reviews, Yelp and Google reviews, on just people out to get them, right? But it turned out their service was terrible, their pizza was terrible, everything was terrible. Gordon Ramsay went in there and told them all this, and they just couldn't take it. They were playing the victim, and look, they shut down. They tried to revamp using a lot of the pop culture and the fact that they were on TV, but as far as I know, they never came back up. Playing, you know, and their whole goal, their whole mindset was not our fault. It's other people out to get us. And I have to blame them. They're shifting the blame, which essentially is what victimhood is shifting any responsibility to either an outside force or another person or something to extenuating circumstances. So my topic when it comes to playing the victim and victimhood and being a victim is one of the first things you do, I think, but I've been thinking about this, one of the first things you do to not be a victim is to shut the hell up and stand tall.
Yeah.
Right? Because first of all, I say shut the hell up because what you're thinking might be a victim mindset. So don't communicate that because then it puts you in that position.
So I got a question.
Yeah.
How does that affect the family?
Oh, and highly effective. I mean, are you kidding me? A husband that doesn't take responsibility? What's that? It's real famous now going around on social media. Is that Chris Rock quote when he says, "Only dogs, children, and women are loved unconditionally."
Absolutely.
You know what? Men are loved only on the condition of how they can provide and what they are. A man has to be the head of the household because he's the keystone of the household.
Well, because you have to be in a situation where you always have one member having accountability. You always have to have somebody who says the buck stops here. And that's the thing, if you're going to be the head of that household, if you're going to be the man of the house, there's not one moment where you can have victimhood, not one moment where you can let your feelings overtake your life.
Right.
Like an example, a great example, like a lot of these older men, and you can't blame the women all the way, right? Because what these older men do is they carry the woman on their back, and they give them everything they want, not what they need. They give them everything they want, and you can't challenge that woman. As soon as you challenge her, he's ready to jump on you.
Right.
Good example, like I had a situation with my aunt, and she wanted to tile the room that I'm in. The guy did a terrible job. I don't know nothing about that wood tiling or if it's done right or not. So the guy did it wrong. My aunt got frustrated and she called my father. My father knows how to do it, but he's in Pennsylvania. So my pops called me asking me why. Oh, did you check it yourself? Did you look? Was it done right according to your inspection? I'm like, Pops, I don't know how to tile. You know what I mean? And he was like, well, you still should know, how to do it right or whatever. I'm like, no, you didn't teach me how to tile. I don't have no interest in learning how to tile, so I don't know about tiling. And me and him got in a big argument because of that, right? Yeah. Now, the foundation of that is my aunt allowed her husband to walk out of her house, because if her husband was there, he would have had the money, he would have had the resource, he would have known the right guy to call instead of her calling that cheap dude to do it. The only reason she hired him because he was cheap.
I see what he was doing.
If her husband was in there, that would have been done right.
So in that case, who played the victim?
My aunt played the victim because she was like, oh, nobody wants to help me. I don't know who to call. Yeah, but if you never scared all the men out of your life and even annoy all the men out of your life, that wouldn't have happened.
But do you realize the secondary dynamic of that?
I'm the secondary dynamic.
Yes, because
the primary
what he was doing is he was setting you up in that driver's seat that he left. Mm-hmm. He wanted you to step up and be that man in that situation.
Oh,
that's probably what you guys got in an argument about, making an assumption here.
Yep.
When he says something like, you need to figure it out, and then you said, no, you should have taught me, there's blame shifting immediately there. And that's the first thing that a victim does, is they shift the blame to someone else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I caught that right away too.
Yeah, so what theoretically should have happened, right, when he said that to you, you could have made the decision, you know what, all right, no problem. It's not really my fault, and this is just internally, right? It's not really my fault I don't know how to do this, but I'm not going to blame him for me not knowing how to do it.
I'm going to tell you something. My pops ain't like that. If I say, okay, I got it, it's not going to stop there. I know him. What he does, like, okay, like if I try to stop the conversation, he prolongs it by, because you don't want to do this.
And that's fine, but you haven't played the victim. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But you haven't put your position to where you're victimizing yourself.
Yeah.
You're not playing the victim at that point.
Right.
Okay, if he wants to continue on, that's on him. Of course.
Well, the main foundation for all this trauma in the house, for the whole entire family unit, because when I came to America, it was me, my cousin's kids, and my aunt. We were one unit. She constantly would put any church member's priority. Like if my cousin said, hey aunt, hey mom, we're going to a restaurant. Oh no, I can't go. Sister Smiley said, I gotta do this. Sister Jenny said, I gotta cook. Hold up, this is your family. So she constantly do that, and on top of that, she constantly keep throwing drama in there, arguing with us all the time, pushing us away. And I thought about it in the bed, when I lay down in my bed. I'm like, hold up, if this lady had the man in the house, the husband that walked out in 2006, she stood there and watched him walk out the house. If she had stopped that man from walking out the house, half of her finances would be completely eradicated. It would have been taken care of. You know what I mean? And I'm being real.
No, I know.
Right? Now listen, when it comes to a man walking out the house, I'm being real. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna be real. Bitch, go suck his dick. Go suck his dick. Make sure.
By the time, the guy left, there's probably something that should have happened.
I'm not talking. It shouldn't get there.
That's what I'm saying. It should have been something fixed.
Rub his back. Rub his feet. She don't want to do that. She's prideful.
You know what? I'll be honest with you though.
She don't want to take that.
That's the kind of stuff where I look at a woman and I'm like, you're trying to fix a bigger mess with a smaller gesture. There's got to be something underlying the situation. Well, like, rub my feet,
I was gonna say head.
Something like that. It's like, no, that's a small gesture.
No.
Bruh.
No. What? Is she listen, first off, he's a Jehovah's Witness church man. Yeah. And she had put some head on him that he ain't never gotten in life. Let me tell you something. The roof would have been fixed. Everything in the yard would be pristine. She wouldn't have to work anymore. Okay. She put that head. That's psychology.
I think his first question would be like, "Where did you learn that from?"
No, you don't ever ask that question. You don't ever want to ask that. You want to ask that question, but don't ever for the love of God.
Stop, because you guys don't know why I'm different on that.
Why?
Because the thing is, I've had so many sexual experiences that it's like, no,
But that's
like
you.
I've seen where women just use that as a way to fix something quick and manipulate a guy.
But we're talking about in a marriage.
No,
Even in a
Right?
marriage.
No, listen.
Yes, it can
This
be
is not a man. This is not a man that has a lot of options. It's different. When you have a lot of options, no, it's not a big deal. When you don't have a lot of options, it is a big deal. A man that don't get pussy on a regular basis,
and at the same time is providing.
it's another universe you just gave him. If you make him nut, if she makes him nut, she gave him a whole universe. He'll do anything. He'll pull the moon down from.
Don't you think that's a temporary satisfaction?
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
I mean, I look at it like that.
No.
Yes. No. Yes.
I've seen men.
It is a temporary thing, but it should be something that.
It's
is
the way. It's
always
not.
brought up.
It's the way you do it. It's the way you do it.
Well, but maybe I could bring it around a little bit. Now, if you have a general intimacy that's ongoing throughout the relationship, that's maintained.
That's what I'm talking
intimate
about.
touch, intimate talk, intimate sexual relations, where you actually have a closeness that you're maintaining in general, yes. But I like once in a while just doing it as a gesture. Oh, I'll rub your feet if you do this for me, kind of stuff. No.
No,
I'm not talking about that. That's not what I'm talking
Let's
about.
clear that up because it's not. I'll rub. It's not a negotiation. I'm not trying.
It's a duty.
It is used as manipulation by a lot of women. I get that, but we're not talking in the sense to where she should have been doing that in order to get him to do things.
Yeah.
In life, nothing is genuine. Everything is done for a reason. Nothing is wrong with that. Nothing is wrong with doing something to expect something, because life is all about supply and demands. Nothing is supplied without a demand, right? The only thing that's supplied without demands is your mother's love. No woman is going to love you like your mother. Your mother loves you unconditionally because you are her child. Now, you and that woman,
I wouldn't say that's guaranteed either, though.
what are you talking about? Oh,
Your
your
mother
mother.
loves the child unconditionally. It's not guaranteed.
We're not, hold
It's not
on.
guaranteed.
We're not talking about exceptions.
Yeah.
We're talking about a mother and a child. Basically, right? We're not talking about exceptions. You do have exceptions, but on a major basis, a mother would do anything it takes for a child. Most women would do anything it takes for their child, right? Including selling their body to feed their child. They'll do it. So a mother loves you unconditionally. Child, you don't do nothing for the mother to love you. She just loves you because you're a child. Apart from that, everything else in life is done for a transaction. Nothing is wrong with that. All you need to do is to make sure that you benefit on your side and they benefit on their side. And that's how the unity comes in.
So your point was that he left because of her.
He left because of her pride. She nags him every day. Every single day.
No, what's that
Every
saying?
day.
What's that saying? You know, you can have a house, but the woman makes the home.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. So I mean, if she would have made, I guess, more of a home for him.
No, in the Bible it says it's better to live in the corner of a roof than to be in a house with a contentious.
On the housetop.
Than to be in a, there you go.
It says in Proverbs, it's better to be on the housetop with a brawl than be fighting with a brawling woman.
I always wondered about the filter was up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so it's all about the woman has to make the home give him peace of mind. She wasn't giving him peace of mind. She was putting everything on his shoulder. He goes to work, put everything on his shoulder while working and providing. Then come home, then she puts more on his shoulder. And then argue with him why he didn't do this, why he didn't do that. And she gives the whole she paints a picture of him as if he's this insane person.
So is she making him work too hard?
No, listen. She's painting a picture of him to make him look like he's this insane person who chose to just get up and leave out of nowhere. And that's not true. Everything is for a reason. Nobody does nothing for no reason. It's for a reason. When somebody gets up and leaves, it's something that's been built up on the inside that has not been addressed.
Why was she playing the victim?
Pride. Pride, bro. Can't swallow that pride. And victimhood, right? She wants to be the victim. Oh, woe is me. Look what I've been through when I was a child. Oh, you never treat me. Oh, you treat me just like my grandfather or like my father.
Right.
The victim shit.
Right.
Every time me and my aunt get in an argument, the first thing she brings up, oh, when I was a child, oh I didn't know my father, and I had to walk barefoot to the. I'm like, come on.
I got you.
You know what I mean? Like, you lived a good life. They let you work hard. They're training you to be a virtuous woman. That's why my grandfather let her walk to the shop, to the corner store, to the marketplaces, barefooted. It's Jamaica. We have soil.
Right.
It's good to be good. That's healthy. Now she's 67 years old. She's healthy as an ox because of that.
What do they call it? Soiling or something? Where you
Grounding.
No, it's called grounding.
Grounding.
Yeah, it pulls electrons from the earth through the bottom of your foot, and it heals your organs.
To the earth. It takes electrons from
She
the
is 5'3", over 200 pounds, and she's frisky as can be, healthy. 67, still healthy, no back problems, no nothing, because of all the things she been through. But she's complaining about it as if it's a problem, and it's not. It made you stronger, but she used that, and she never went and got therapy about that. So what that does, she carried it over into her marriage. She annoyed the fuck out of her husband, and he left. He walked out. He said, "Fuck it, I'm done." He walked out twice. He walked out in 06. He was living with her again recently before I moved in, about a year ago, and he walked out again.
So technically, she basically walked out before he did, in a sense.
I'll tell you something though.
Hold on. Were you listening?
No, I was listening. What I'm
He's
saying,
talking about emotional.
emotionally, she's already
In the
like,
relationship.
she walked out on him a long time ago, kind of thing, and
Didn't make him
that
feel
was like
appreciated.
the effect.
She's
of-
holding on to past trauma.
Right.
She's bringing that into her relationship.
See, I kind of see something deep in this situation.
She don't intentionally do it, but it happens when you don't heal something.
Well, the thing is that, okay, woman's trying to build a nest. If they are trying to generate a family, they're trying to build a nest. So that nest is their business. So they lose business the minute that they're content because they're no longer able to grow it. The minute that they're content, that growth of the nest stops. It's got to be like, okay, we're good. So it is in her best interest to constantly grab more, to constantly gather. Men are hunters. They're like, done. Women, they're like picking berries all day, picking fruit all day, doing all that gathering. So they're gonna acquire as many resources as they. So the minute that a woman is satisfied, she's losing business.
She's losing interest.
Well, no, she's losing business because the thing is that you're constantly trying to acquire more, constantly trying to build more. Like they're sitting there, they're like, I got the house, now let's decorate. Well, I have dishes, but I can use that nice fine china. Well, I got the table, but you know what? I wanted to get a bigger table so I can entertain. Like it's always bigger, more on the material end, and then on the emotional, social end. You ever hear that Chris Rock special? I know we're referencing Chris Rock a lot, but like he's sitting there saying like you could screw a girl with a diamond dick, and she'd be like, oh, this dick is cloudy, oh, you make me come too hard.
Can I ask you something? And I really want to know. This is something I really want to know.
Sure.
Why do women do manipulation and victimization? I don't understand.
That's how
Well,
they
because
do it.
if there's
That's
a
how they
victim,
bully. That's how they grow up bullying.
that's a social thing. Because I mean, you'll be sitting there and like you'll have a clique full of girls and they're bullying each other.
No.
So they manipulate to make it to where they act like the victim, but they're actually the bully.
This is how it happens.
That's how
When
they
you-
bully.
when you have
That's
a-
how they bully. They bully with rumors. They bully by manipulation because they don't become violent.
Right.
When you don't become violent, men, they have a problem. They're bullies. They're violent. They're aggressive.
I used to
They
know a
get
girl, she
fights.
would like mess with her boyfriend because like if her boyfriend would reach up on the top shelf and grab something in public, like at the store or something, and she would just go, like she was being hit, and everybody would look,
And she's not.
and like
being
they'd be
hit.
looking at him like he just raised his hand to her.
Hold up, bro. You got 2 daughters, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm scared.
It's just 3. Yeah.
No, pay attention to your daughters, right? So when your daughters want something, what do?
Manipulated.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So it's
That's a natural
It's natural.
that's why I reference gathering.
It's not a bad thing that women manipulate. The bad thing is when you allow her.
Well, that's why it's just a bad thing to not be aware
hold
of.
up, listen. It's like a child. Because believe it or not, no disrespect, but women are naturally childish. You got men that are childish too, but women, the feminine tendencies of women can get childish. It's a childlike It's a childlike energy.
So you bring someone with a different perspective, child.
Women are naturally childlike. You have to control that. That is why you lead the relationship. And it's not by brute force, and it's not by being a savage brute. It's about laying out, because a man is...
You gotta set a boundary.
A boundary. Man is by his principles. A man lives by principles and by his morals. Those principles and morals are your boundaries. Most men we do not set boundaries. That's why women do the things they do. Even back in the day too. Don't get it twisted. Most of these OGs do that.
That's what I'm trying to get at as far as everything, why a man can't handle it. Because you have that, whether it be in your friends group or
It's your fault.
family at home.
You allow her to go that
Everybody's
far.
coming at you. Everybody plays the victim around you. You can't. You either have to be the problem solver or just the listener. That's all. You just either stay there and listen to these problems and just keep on, or you solve the problems yourself. However you need to be there. But the one thing as a man you cannot do is play the damn victim. You can't play that same game. Because everybody's going to come to you with that. The women's going to come to you and say, this is happening with my friends. You know, that whole, talking teenage talking shit about all their friends. They're going to unload that on you, and you should be able to receive that and not be offended. And you can't do the same. Men can vent to women, especially women that are in relationships. They can. But you have to be.
You cannot. I highly disagree.
I wouldn't even say that.
I highly
I say
disagree.
that you can, but you have to do it in a way to where you're not becoming the victim. You have to do it in a way in a very strong stance. You have to be extremely secure. A woman can freely vent to you and be insecure because you're supposed to be the rock.
How you gonna vent and not be insecure?
So there's definitely, in my opinion, definitely a difference between being vulnerable, okay, and talking about vulnerability and being insecure. In fact, being able to be vulnerable to, especially to a woman, is a point of security. I'm secure enough with who I am. I'm secure enough with the kind of man I am, and I'm secure enough to expose this thing that makes me uncomfortable, this thing I don't understand, this thing that needs to be communicated. For example, I'm doing all this stuff around the house. I'm paying for this house, I'm fixing the house, I'm providing this environment, and I don't feel appreciated. You cook for me, you clean the house, you take care of our kids, and this happens a lot, because a lot of women, especially when they have babies, you guys can probably attest to this, they fulfill that bodily need to touch, like the touchiness, they fulfill that with the baby, because they're constantly with the baby, so they don't need to be touched. And they get that they get all the attention they can from the baby.
Well, just to put on what you're saying, because I totally agree with what you're saying. The thing is, they after a woman has a child, they go through this weird what is it?
Postpartum depression.
Postpartum depression.
In some cases,
and it's like, yeah, sometimes there's been actual report or times where like some people have killed the baby. You know what I mean? The depression is so strong.
But I'm just saying the man is not included in any of that discussion. So if I'm doing all this and I'm not getting any, especially somebody like me, my primary love language is physical touch. Okay? So if you're not expressing that part, you have to be secure enough to be vulnerable and express, hey, this is lacking, I'm not feeling appreciated, this needs to be fixed. You cannot come as a victim.
Hold on. That is not venting.
That is venting.
No, that's not. I'll tell you what that is. You literally just told her what you require naturally as a man. Venting is me telling you.
Well,
venting is venting is me telling you all my problems and what. It's literally like you're pouring out your emotions.
You still can. In that particular case, yes, the solution was with her.
You just lay down
a lot
on the
of
ground.
times you don't know the solution. The person you're talking to doesn't know the solution. You can still confide in that person, be vulnerable about these things. You guys don't know, and you can still express these vulnerabilities to somebody and confide in someone and still be a secure man.
You realize one thing, in that moment that you're doing. When you have that first venting moment, the honeymoon is over. That's the point at which, okay, now it's serious. But also at the same time, because that boundary line's been crossed by that person, you failed to set the expectation in the first place. Now it's going to feel like you're moving the goalposts somewhere.
Yes, you're supposed to.
Yeah, you're supposed to. That's mature relationship.
That's you have to keep a woman's mind active. If
I'm not saying that there's something wrong with that. I'm saying that that moment is going to be a very tense moment. It's not going to be
Sure.
It should be.
You should be able to.
But you got to do it.
You should be able to
challenge her.
overcome that, and that's maturing the relationship forward.
Well, I mean, you could overcome it, but I don't think that in most cases, the way things are now, especially with modern women and victimhood status, they overcome.
It doesn't matter. I can't talk on whether or not how a woman should play her role as a victim or not, because most women I've seen have always been a victim. So, but I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about how I don't, or how the man doesn't, because in my opinion, it ends at the man's security. It ends at the man either taking responsibility, taking it on the chin, moving forward, not playing the victim game, not blaming others.
Right.
At all, for anything. So I think that's going to mature something for it. I think that, if anything, that should be something celebrated, that you can get past the honeymoon phase.
Well, but in a sense, you're always supposed to be that stoic person that knows what to do and how to fix and solve all problems.
I don't
you have
agree
that
with
one moment.
That's not what it's about.
I'm not saying that it's something that I agree to. It's not something that I want.
Well, and
it's
that's what
something
I'm
that
saying.
just has been since
If you just sit there and give her everything she wants, she's gonna get bored, because now she conquered you. She conquered you now, and she got you. She's gonna find somebody.
I'm not even talking about simping though. That's simping.
Yeah, she's gonna. Yeah, what I'm talking about, like when it comes to moving the goalposts for her, expectations. Like if she cooks and cleans, okay, I need this done a certain way. You should always be moving that goalpost, because if you don't,
Well, I think what we're trying to set a standard on then is the difference between venting and weak expression.
but what he said at
strong
first,
expression and setting an expectation. I think that should be clear.
what he said at first was not venting.
Right. That's what I'm trying to clarify.
I'm telling you, that's not venting.
Yeah.
You
Well, there's different
literally,
ways of venting.
you literally just set your stand. That's a standard.
Right.
I'm not getting touched enough. You're not affectionate enough. I need more affection.
Okay, that's fair. That's
That's not
a problem
venting.
with that problem.
Yeah.
But venting can still be done, I think, in a secure manner.
No.
You can confide in someone. You don't know the solution. Neither does that person. You can still confide in that person. They can still be a good listener and you can still be vulnerable in that sense.
That's what
without
trust comes in.
losing your security.
But let me give you a situation where the person is too close to the mix to be able to vent to them about it. Like there's a difference between like if I'm with the person and the person's part of that problem dynamic, that's not the person to vent to. The person to vent to would be outside, but the person to address the issue with is directly would.
Right. So then. Right.
That's what I'm trying to get.
Yeah, so you can still
bring
talk
outside
to your friend
sources.
about what's going on in your
Exactly. That's
relationship,
what I'm saying.
and you can vent to that friend without being insecure.
But then at the same time, in that friend dynamic, that friend's gonna call you out on your bullshit eventually and say, "Hey man, you need to handle your shit because it's getting real stale listening to you talk about this."
Well, okay, but that's
Like, if
a
you
different issue.
Example of
That's a
venting.
different thing. If you're constantly complaining about something that
Right.
you're doing nothing about to fix, that's when you're becoming a victim. And then yeah, a real friend should call you out. I'm not talking about that. You can still
Well, but I
vent.
was giving that as a second example.
Right.
Of big,
Now you're going into where you're not just venting, you're blaming. You're just constantly finding the
I'll
victim.
give an example of venting, right? I made a mistake and did it, and it does not, I'm telling you, it does not work. You always turn against you, because the woman is looking for strength. She's not looking for you to be vulnerable. She's looking for you to be strong all the time.
oh, men got to be a threat.
So look, right? I'll give you an example when I became vulnerable. When I vented a couple of times. I'm gonna show you how it fucked me in the end. I remember I was talking to this girl in Jacksonville, and she would never call me. I'm always calling her. So I say, man, why am I always initiating contact? I don't, man. And I keep telling her shit like, man, I remember back in Jamaica, man, when the girls used to tell me that my dark skin is ugly, my nose is too big, my hair is too nappy, they don't like it, right? And she was like, no, you're perfectly fine. But I'm venting to her, I'm telling her, those were my deepest insecurities. The tone of my skin and how my face looked. I never liked it. And I told her that. After I told her that, guess what happened? She stopped calling me. She was tired of hearing it.
How long had you known her?
That's not.
It don't matter.
No, it does. It 100% does. How long had you known her?
By a couple months.
Okay. First of all, there's a massive red flag.
Yeah.
You know that one.
Yeah, there's a massive red flag. So
You basically ended the honeymoon phase in the first.
that was a good thing that she stopped talking to you.
Yes, it
That
was.
was a good thing because
Yes.
you cannot be secure with that. You can't be vulnerable with that. So it's a good thing. She saw it as a weakness, but here's the thing. You then now have to go into who you're able to be vulnerable with. Now, it really depends. I don't think it depends too much on length of time of knowing somebody. I think it depends on quality of the time that you spend with somebody. Now, to be fair, quantity of time leads to quality of time. But if you have somebody that you feel extremely comfortable with, or you have somebody that you truly value, you can probably figure, like really, really valuable people, you can probably figure that out now. Okay? Or not even that. Some people I know, I've met, for example, Rafael Nadal. That man was a quality person, and I understood in 3-4 minutes of conversation that this man was a highly quality person, highly valued person, right? Somebody you could really confide in. But it really depends. You guys are long distance, you only knew a couple months. Was your relationship mostly physical, I'm assuming? No, was it physical at all?
No. It was over the phone, long distance.
See, I would
So it was
say
just over the phone.
I would just say.
But I did it before with a couple of my exes. And the thing is, when you do it with them, it's a long-term thing. So they'll hold it in for a while. And when the slightest little problem pops up, it's going to come up. That is a warning. When they feel threatened or their back is against the wall, they're gonna lash out and bring up you remember that queen? They're gonna bring it up.
Well, can I get in?
It's natural because women are defensive. They will bring your weakness up. That's why you cannot, and it's a sad thing. This is what Jordan Peterson was talking about.
Jordan Peterson, I would not bring into that conversation because Jordan Peterson has literally weeped publicly on national television.
He's not. That was not for women. That was not for women. That was for me. That was for you. That was for us. That was not for women. The women can think. They can think whatever the fuck they want to think about that. That's not for them. So they can say whatever they want. He was weeping for us because there's no justice for us. That's why he was weeping.
Well, that's a man that if you can publicly show your emotions, I'm making an example.
But it's for us.
That you can privately do.
We can accept that. The liberals don't accept that.
One very simple thing.
The liberals don't accept that. They see him as weak, but that was not for them. He was not venting for them. He was venting for us.
Yeah,
That's why
Dre,
we cry.
you have to understand the difference. What he was talking about earlier was marriage. And the thing is, if you can't vent to your own wife that you're supposed to trust, and she's supposed to trust you,
Cannot.
you know what I'm saying? No, believe it or not, hey, if you've been married, you
should
understand
be
this.
able to.
You know what I'm saying? The thing is, if you can't trust them, and my mom told me a long time ago, she said, if there's no trust, there's no relationship.
Am I going to trust
At all.
somebody who's secure, or am I going to trust somebody who's insecure?
Right.
Yeah,
That's the
but I
thing. If you
don't.
project
First off-
security, if you project being whole and 100%,
You should
But
not. You should.
vulnerability does not take away from security.
yes it does.
I don't think it does.
How many times have you seen a political debate where the more secure looking person, the more put together person wins that debate? Not based on principles, just based on what they're projecting.
Well, it's also, you have to look at honesty, though, too.
I mean, Trump's an asshole. How did he get elected? I'm just saying, man. He was the most secure on that stage.
Both of you, but believe it or not, both of you are actually right. No, I'm serious, because you have to understand something. When you're vulnerable with somebody, that's a form of honesty as well. So when you're being honest with someone, going, look, this is the deal, this is what I feel, this is what's going on.
Women see trust builds over time, so you can't do it right away. You got to do it at the end zone, not at the beginning.
Good, no, because for years, even with my ex-wife, I was hard, where I wouldn't show my vulnerability because she used it against me. And then later on, she wanted me to be vulnerable because she got closer
the
to me.
minute that you showed that vulnerability, you see, that's your trust in them too.
Right, because you have to understand, women show it all the time. Women are natural, vulnerable people.
Women look for vulnerability because it shows them more secure. There is a way of being insecure and venting and being vulnerable. It's not just being vulnerable, it's being insecure.
And in that sense, hold on, Mike, hold on. In that sense of what he's saying, at that point, they trust you more, in a sense.
Right. They feel more secure.
But when you
have
become
to take your time before you do that.
Right, but I'm not. But we can.
No, this isn't like
blanket statement that vulnerability and insecurity are the same thing. You're saying, and this was the you cannot say that being vulnerable means insecurity. Period.
Do it at the beginning.
It could,
but end,
but it's
more
not.
of a chance where she got to know you and she
hold
realized.
on.
But at the same time,
My question
vulnerability can show also security.
why are you
Well, just
vulnerable?
think about it this way, okay? If I have 2 months with you, right, and you're showing another side of yourself right away, that's flipping the script too quick, and I don't trust you as much. But if over time something develops, and then there's this one moment that's out of character for you, I'm gonna be like, baby, what's wrong? I'm not gonna be like,
Well, you can't
throwing
judge
baby out with
the
bathwater.
You can't judge the time.
Yeah, you remember what I said in American Families when we talked about that? I said when the romance ends, true intentions are revealed.
Right.
So the thing is, once you see their true intentions, you call it out, and then you have that serious talk.
But I'm saying,
My question is,
you wanna
first
hold on as long as you can before that happens.
First off, why are you vulnerable to the woman? Why are you exposing your
Why
vulnerability?
not?
She needs it, and it's healthy for you.
Why?
I don't like stoicism.
It's not about being stoic. You're
No,
what you're doing is you're
I guess what I'm trying to
so
get at, it's not-
when you go to your mother, right?
Yeah.
Your mother loves you unconditionally. No woman is going to love you unconditionally. No woman is going to love you unconditionally. She's going to love you under the conditions that you provide. So, if that's the case, why should you be vulnerable? When you're vulnerable towards your mother, you know what your mother's going to do? Because she loves you so much. For nothing. She just loves you because you're her son. She's going to counsel you. You do not need your wife to counsel you.
I'm sorry, but if you cannot show vulnerability to, and just talking about romantic relationships, if you cannot show vulnerability to that partner ever, that is a sign of insecurity.
I never said that.
No, I'm saying
Yeah.
but that's what I'm hearing from you.
So-
You have to be able to show vulnerability.
Is vulnerability a part of being masculine?
Absolutely.
That's a liberal mind frame.
So,
That's liberal.
is it wrong?
Yes, it's wrong. It's
Why?
very
Why
wrong.
is it wrong?
Very wrong.
Why?
No male creature on this earth shows vulnerability towards the female because the female has to keep in mind that this is the protector. When I'm broken down in any way, form, or fashion, this is who I gotta turn to. If I know that he has a certain weakness, how am I gonna fully trust him?
I would argue that men are more vulnerable than women, and here's why. Very simple. We're balls out. Women keep everything on the inside.
Yeah, but why do women live longer than
that's a
men?
theory.
When we're talking
That's
about
a theory.
vulnerability,
That's not true.
why do women live longer than men? Because they express. We
Yeah,
don't
because men
express.
don't express anything.
They cry. They let it out. We don't.
Men
The thing is that
That's not why. The
That
reason
is
why.
why.
That's
The
literally
reason
what
why.
man is vulnerable.
The reason why women outlive us. We work. Look at the jobs that we do.
That's not just the only
They
reason.
work. You're independent.
That's not just the only reason.
How many
because most-
women is digging lead mud out of a lead pit?
These days, die.
It's not a lot of women, bro. It's not.
It's
Yeah.
not.
Do you know how many women work in my plant? 1 out of 300.
Yeah, but what's the main killer of men?
Our professions.
No.
No.
The number one killer is heart disease, and heart disease from stress.
Stress and worry.
Yeah.
Stress and worry. You know how you release stress? venting and being vulnerable and letting that shit out.
What are the things
Okay,
that men
so-
generally focus on?
Why?
Things.
Men are focused on goals, how they want to develop themselves, and what does that represent?
Not
Who you
most
are
men.
as a person.
I don't know about most
Your
men.
vulnerability is out there.
Men are focused on things. Men have always been more about
Right.
things. Women are about people. A woman is way more sensitive to a man's vulnerability than another man will be.
I think that men identify with things
I
more
disagree.
because men are identified
I
more
disagree.
as things.
I think you can
Yes.
be more successful venting to a friend, a trustworthy male friend.
Who's more important in a relationship, your wife or your friend?
Who's more important?
Which
The wife.
relationship is still more? So which one do you have to show more security with?
Wife?
And if a woman sees you
What
being
did I do
able
with
to be
venting, though?
vulnerable is a form of security in yourself, which one's more important to be vulnerable?
But as iron sharpen iron,
No,
if you
it's
feel
iron
I'm not saying you shouldn't be
if you
vulnerable with
feel
your friends.
if you feel dull and you're going down inside your heart. We've been through it. The woman cannot understand what they're going through because you are a man. You process information different from her. She will never understand you because she is a woman.
Brian,
I don't
can
think she's after understanding you. She just wants to hear you.
But what's the point?
For her own security to see.
That's
security.
vain.
You know what,
have to
Brian?
secure the woman.
Look at the
That's
other
vain.
side. I don't want my wife or my woman going to outside sources. I
That's
don't want
different.
them. No, it isn't because see,
That's her
here's the
venting.
reason. That's why, honestly, I chose polygyny. And a lot of people don't agree with me, and that's fine. But the thing is, there's a support system there. If you have to go to your mother,
What they
if you
gotta
have
do
to,
with this?
let me explain. If you have to go one husband with many wives.
Polygamous.
No, polygamy is a man or woman can do it. Polygyny, biblical polygyny, is a man with multiple wives. Abraham did it, Solomon did it, they all did it.
Okay, so
It's
what
called
that's
polygyny.
hold up. Let him finish.
Polygamy is either a man or woman can do it. There's polygamy, and in polygamy there's different there's polyandry, there's polygyny, there's different ones. But let me get to my point, okay? When a woman goes out to her mom, her aunt, her friend, okay, they can only base their experiences off their experiences. Like if I have 5 wives and I go with me and one of my wives get into a fight. They go with 2 wives and I go with 2 wives. They live with us. They know how I am and they know how she is. So when they're like, girl, he did this and this and this, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Doesn't that create a split dynamic?
Duh.
You know? No, but what I'm saying is
They're women,
understand,
they understand each other.
If you get outside, my point is, if you get outside sources, all right, that's what happened to my marriage. My wife went to outside sources and it fucked up our marriage. Okay, that's what happens.
G.
Okay.
What I'm saying
Real
is,
talk.
what I'm saying is, when you need knowledge on yourself.
This isn't a knowledge. No. When it comes to a relationship, it's not about knowledge at that point. All right, this is about what we're talking about is vulnerability. Vulnerability is not knowledge. Vulnerability is opening yourself up to that woman and going, look, this is what's going on with me. This is what I'm dealing with. I'm having heart issues off this shit. This is really bothering me. She's gonna. But I'm saying, when you're blunt and straight up and you're towards that woman, guess what she's gonna do? I didn't know you felt that way. Are you serious? When it's serious, when it's a serious relationship.
Well, I'm saying,
The topic is playing the victim, being a victim, and suscepting yourself to victimhood. And I think the reason we got this is because there's a confusion of playing the victim, being a victim, and being secure enough to be vulnerable. I think there's a confusion of if you see yourself being vulnerable, especially to the opposite sex, that you're in a romantic relationship with, that it's seen as you're weak and being a victim and looking to be attacked.
It's just you and her.
That's the first thing that they say though.
What?
The minute that you show vulnerability, it's like you're playing the victim. That's the first thing that they think.
Women?
Most
I
women.
don't agree with that.
Not if you're being
I don't
sober-minded
agree with
about
that.
it.
Yeah, I don't agree with that because most of the women that I've truly been vulnerable with, the relationship has matured and gone even further because I was willing to be vulnerable securely and confide in them for something in particular. And then move forward. Now, the one thing they don't want to see is you constantly coming home and bitching about the same thing over and over and over again and not doing anything about it. That's different, right? Then they're going to judge you hard because then that's when it becomes like, well, okay, what the hell are you going to do about it, man? Are you not secure enough to find a fucking issue? cool, vent all you want, but are you not going to do something about it? Women are, like I said before, they're more interested in things, women are more interested in people. And women are highly sensitive to that stuff. That's why it's high value when you are going to be that way. That's why but it's also high value for you to actually move forward and see that. I've had chicks that were breaking up with me, right? And I was probably for like 6 months before that became very stoic. Right? Because I internalize things. Most men do. I just internalize it. I don't express it. And then we got so deep into the conversation, we were finally breaking up, that I started to become very emotional, and they wanted to get back together. And they regretted everything they said. Now, obviously, I ended up there or whatever, but they wanted to come back in because all they needed was that one sense of vulnerability that makes them feel like they know you better, that they trust me, that man trusts me, that man was able to confide in me. I can have a deeper relationship with this man. I now know how to support and where to be supported. Now, fair enough, they also know what's attacking, right? They also know where your vulnerabilities are, and yes, there's always that sense of women can't take advantage of that. That's a risk.
But that's why you express, because the thing is, that's why women express so much, because they don't want to be the victim. Right. So they break it out and they go, they say what they feel.
And then don't bother them anymore.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. You know what I mean? But men won't do that, because men, I understand, we have pride, we have all this stuff, we hold it in. But expression is healthy.
Well, I think part of that too, though, is that men have a lot of things that they have a clandestine operation. Hear me out on what this is and why I'm explaining this. A guy could be doing something like in the military, in a court case, working with the police, working with like some kind of top secret information, working with something where it's like, okay, they're a drug dealer, they can't let you in on the business, they're in the mafia, they can't let you in on the business. Guys do those kinds of things for their businesses where they'll have something that's like insider information, they can't bear the burden. Then they have to go to the people who are inside.
But Mike, here's the thing you have to understand about that.
So they have to be.
At the get-go, you need to know what you're getting into when you get with the woman.
What I'm saying is it applies to men more often than women.
I think it only
baked in.
applies, that they have to be vulnerable, or what?
No, it's baked in that men have to have a little bit more stoicism than women in general, just because of the way that their job descriptions are.
I don't think it's that men have to be, I think that men are naturally.
I think that men's mental health are for men. Your mental health is not for your woman, is not your psychologist.
Yes.
Stop venting to your woman, right? Because she cannot solve your problem. You trying to secure a relationship like that, you're going into a 60-40 progress.
Well, because the thing
The 60%, the 60% is going to be her. It's going to be 60% her potentially using that against you later on down the line.
Okay, but that's
right.
Risk, but
if you feel like you need counseling, you go to an older man, and the reason why
what's your woman gonna say? Is that you never talk to me?
Oh, I talked to you.
First complaint.
But
You never tell me
but
about what you're worried about.
hold up. She wouldn't even know.
Oh, please.
But Brian, that wasn't the original argument.
Your
What
deepest.
you were showing.
We're talking about your deepest insecurities. Now, I'm not saying you can't talk to her. You can talk to her, but I'm talking about actually venting. I'm talking about letting her. Hey man, I feel like killing myself. I feel like committing suicide.
Man, people don't want to hear about my shit. That's why I pay a therapist.
You know what I'm saying?
Fuck you, pay me, right?
I'm talking about real venting. I'm talking about, yo, I feel like committing suicide. I feel like ending it, bro. I'm tired of this.
Person to talk to.
I'm tired of this life.
Yeah.
When it comes, that's real venting. That is venting.
Yeah, but you're venting when there's a problem.
When that's
don't get somebody who
situations like that, when you feel overloaded, you go to an older man because he's been through it before. The woman, she cannot understand you. If you're trying to secure your relationship, all you do is you do what you do as a man as usual. You make sure that you do everything you're supposed to do. Leader, everything. But as far as
you can't go to an older man. The reason is because he has his own experiences through his own relationships. The thing with that older man is he's not gonna have the same experience you're having with this woman. It's a totally different
But
relationship.
it's different when you're addressing an issue between you and that woman. Then you need to set a boundary and an expectation. What we're talking about is like venting about other stuff externally.
But venting is only when there's a problem.
Right.
When the that's what Brian was trying to get at. He's like, okay, this is getting out of hand, something's getting out of hand, something like that. You're venting out, going, yo, what the hell?
If the girl's saying what's bothering you, baby, and it's like work related, it's not related to her, that's not her business. If it's something
But it
that
is,
your
because
business, then you bring it up, you address it.
Dre won't understand that side, but
I think women
Why would I not understand that
would
side?
be more.
what I'm about to say, what I'm
Women
about to
would
say,
be
you don't
more
understand.
accepting to issues that you don't know how to deal with than other men would be. I think. It's like, I think most men, if you express something you don't know how to do, most men will let the men do what they always do and tell you, well, how are you gonna fucking fix it? Or they're gonna tell you because they know this is how you fix it.
Yeah, they tell you because they know.
But I don't want to hear about you bitching about something. Fix it. That's a man's
Oh, not to
mentality.
mention, I mean, we're in a day and age where it's like we have 1,000 sages in our pocket. We could go to YouTube and we could find a video on just about anything. We could go to Google, we could answer questions, we could go to Wolfram Alpha, and we could literally find some kind of AI-generated answer for certain
But Mike, the reality is, and this is what this is what I was saying you were not going to understand, because you said in one podcast that you're not a Christian, they are Christians. When you become married, you become one flesh. Okay, you understand that, but you're not, as far as I know, is my knowledge, you're not with them. So the thing is, you become one flesh. That's supposed to be, your body's not your own anymore. When you're in a real biblical, and it is the thing, that's why you have to be, and this is why I agree with Dre, you have to know that you know that you know, getting into a relationship. You gotta know this woman. You don't just jump into some marriage.
And that's
I
what
did
I'm saying,
that.
that level of vulnerability comes much, much, much later. It's something that builds over time. Again, I'm with it, but I'm saying later, not earlier.
I want to flip the relationship a little bit. What we're talking about here. When you're amongst other men and trying to achieve a goal with a group of guys, okay, and you feel like you're being attacked, or that you're being singled out, or anything like that, you feel like you're not on the same page as everybody else. What do you guys think you should do, and what the mentality should be? Because what I'm trying to get at is to not play the victim is more important in that role when you're trying to achieve a goal.
You feel like I've been amongst a bunch of older men, Ernest them, and we got into some heated arguments about certain topics. And what I do, because I couldn't draw no knowledge from what they were telling me. Everything is bashing. So what I do, I pull out, because it's unhealthy. There's a way to counsel somebody. Not all older men can do this.
Right.
Only a chosen few can sit you down and really give you some knowledge, right? And I've only been around a handful of.
But your reaction, and I agree with your reaction, is you pull away.
You pull away, yeah.
And you just stand there.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking when I first started. When I first started, shut the hell up and stand.
And you know what I did?
Just listen.
You know what I did? I told him, I said, yo, from here on, I don't want to say shit to none of you motherfuckers. Fuck all of y'all. Because what y'all doing right now is not right. They weren't trying to counsel me. They were beating me down. You don't know this. You see, back in our days, we do this. These are the key words they use that older men use that are very dangerous, and it's not good for younger people. You don't know about that. This is what we do. Y'all nowadays do this. Y'all nowadays do that. That's not where I came to you. I came to you for knowledge and wisdom. I didn't come to you to tell me who I am, because you don't know who I am.
But if you started battling back, right, instead of doing what you did,
I
started battling back.
I didn't battle
yourself. Right. Then, in that case, in my opinion, that's how you become a victim.
Right. So what I did was,
if you own up to being a target that you're being shot at, or being attacked, you're now owning up to being.
Now let me tell you the story. So after I told them pretty much fuck off, one of them came back to me and he said, "Look, man, I recognize what I did and I apologize. I was shocked." That man came up to me and said, "Man, I apologize. If I disrespect you in any way, form, or fashion, I really didn't mean it that way."
Because you didn't play.
And it shook me to the core.
Yeah.
He understood what he did was wrong.
Right.
He was not counseling me. He was beating me down. That's not what I'm talking about. When you go in front of a council of men, they're gonna give you knowledge. When you talk about, oh man, I feel overwhelmed, I don't know what to do. Then what they'll do is they'll get a formula for you that works for them. They're not gonna tell you to do it. They're gonna advise you, hey, try this, try that. They're gonna give you multiple things to try.
They're gonna edify you.
Right? When you try them, then you see if it works for you. That's all. But what that does is that brings you comfort because now you know there's a way out.
And you doing that, you shutting the hell up and just standing tall, right, getting out of it, sent a message, in my opinion, because I've seen it, I've witnessed it, and I've been a part of it, I've also felt it. It sends a message to everybody else that's trying to shoot you down that either one, all right, he's not listening to me, I'll just put my focus somewhere else. Or what probably happened to that man, he recognized what was happening, said, he's no longer responding. I'm doing something wrong. He's no longer communicating and contributing to this. That's not what I want. Let it come to him individually. And
I told him what it is. I snapped on him. I said, look here, man. Y'all need to stop beating down on young people. That's not going to help. All that's going to do is create division between me and y'all. Well, we don't care. Y'all don't listen anyways. I said, yeah, we don't listen because y'all don't teach us shit. All you do is talk shit about us. You don't teach us anything. A lot of older men are like that. They're jealous. They envy us.
But they kept coming back no matter what you said, right?
Well, after I ended it, I told him, I said, look, man, from here on out, don't say nothing to me again.
But you know what? You threw the gauntlet down in one way, but you didn't pick up another. Did you ever go back to them and say, this is what I want to learn?
I told them in the argument what I want to learn.
Well, I don't think they needed
What was the argument about?
From them. What did you want to learn from them? What did they have?
It was about the role of a man and a woman in a relationship. That's what it was about.
What did they respond with? When you dropped that down, what did they respond with? They just said, none of your generation knows what's up.
They said, I don't know what I'm talking about because I've never been married. I told them you don't have to be married to understand the nature of women and how they operate and how you're supposed to treat them. You know what I mean? And they pretty much was disagreeing with that. Not in a respectful way. It's not that the fact that they disagreed, because I've spoken to majority of men disagree with the red pill way.
Yeah.
It's not the fact that they disagree. It's how disrespectful they were. They were talking down to me. You don't know nothing because you're young. How old are you? I'm 30. Well, you don't know nothing because you're 30 years old. Come on now.
Dre, there's an actual thing. It's called gaslighting. They were gaslighting.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, they're using your age for everything.
I think people will continue to gaslight you, especially with the men, if you continue to talk.
Well, I mean, why do they disagree with that red pill mentality? Because that's the first step of beginning to work on a men's rights perspective. Because the thing is that red pill, hate to say it, they're playing victim right ahead. They're playing the victim right ahead of all the other stuff that they could be doing. They need to focus on political activism. They need to focus on stopping the violence before it starts in their relationships. They need to work on different things domestically. And what I mean by like stopping violence is a lot of men, they don't have men's shelters. You know, if they get beat by their woman and it does happen, they have no place to go. They have to focus on the second part, not just the lip service where like, yeah, women are shit and it's just a boys club. Like,
No, I mean, if you have outside sources, you know, I mean, if it's overwhelming where you can't bear it, yeah, you might have to get an outside source. But a lot of times, you know, there's ways to deal with it. You just gotta know how to deal with it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, to get past that victim stage, that's why a lot of people don't agree with the red pill. Because the red pill is the victim stage.
I have a counselor, like my boy Frank counseled me. He's the one that got me to get over this girl in Jacksonville because I was obsessed over her in an unhealthy way.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, bro, first off, because I told him that she went on a trip. He said, what? She went on a trip? Did she tell you she was going on a trip? No, I found out from her mother. Bruh, really? Leave her alone. It's obviously why she didn't tell you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And he explained to me why she's not interested according to her actions. You know what I mean? She's far as hell away. She's not interested. It's long distance. You know what I mean? She doesn't value that. So
I mean, there's some cases where
he counseled me. He counseled me into letting her go.
Yeah.
He counseled me. You know, take up my, you know what I mean, like keep my mind focused on something else. That's the importance of venting to men. Because when I vented to her, she cut me off. But when I vented to my boys, they understand my feeling, because they were the first thing they said was, I understand, bro.
But you know what they did differently than what most women would do? Most women are emotional. Men were getting logical on their vent. And they were offering you solutions to your problem, and that's why men counsel.
Yeah, because they experienced it before. They've done it before. They felt that way before.
Yeah.
But sometimes you know the answer. The problem is you're so blinded by the situation that you don't realize you're.
Well, I mean, sometimes you're so stuck in your emotions that you spin that hamster.
Yeah. When you stuck in emotions, dog, you can't. There's no logic.
You just turn around.
But when you have a council of men that can wake you up with logic, that hey man, look, bro, this is what possibly could happen. Bitch, probably she could be getting her dick sucked right now. She could be sucking some dick right now.
Girl might give you a pat on the back. The guy will tell you, hey, pick up your balls, let's do this.
They give me all the possibilities of what could be happening right now. She could be happy right now coming from somebody else. Yeah. Leave her alone. Move on. And that's our problem as men.
And we've all been through that.
We play the victim by letting our emotions overcome us. That's what women really don't like. Women don't like when your emotions start coming. They don't like that.
They acting like a woman.
No. The reason why women don't like when your emotions pours out, because they don't know how to handle it. They can't.
Well, but here's the other thing to that too.
If they can barely handle their emotions, on a daily basis, how the hell is she supposed to handle yours?
Well, the reason why they don't know how to handle it, though, at the same time, is because they haven't experienced it.
No, not only that. Listen to what I just said.
Yeah.
If they cannot handle their own emotions, how are they going to handle yours? And you have more burdens than they do. You have more responsibilities than they do. And when they hear all this shit coming out, they're like, whoa. How am I supposed to handle this shit? Well, you got a lot. That's what they're saying in their head. They're not going to tell you that. They're saying that in their head. That's why they say, okay, I understand. All right, I'll just let you. This is their answer all the time. I understand. No solutions. Just, oh yeah, I'm sorry. I understand. Rub me on your back. I understand. Because they really don't understand.
Yeah, but that's all they want. They just want. They're telling you.
But you need to stop giving them what they want. Stop giving them what they want. Give them what they need. What they need is security.
Yeah.
They don't need you pouring your emotions out. When it comes to you venting, you have to go to a counsel. You have to be counseled. They can't counsel you because they can't counsel themselves. A woman's emotion changes every single day. Her mind is like this. That's why, Brian, that's why I disagree.
In the first place. If she's all over the place, how's she going to define security? Because security is always going to be moving.
No, she defines security by her being able to take care of shit, first of all.
Right.
And she ain't got to worry about it no more, because you got it.
Okay.
That's it.
And if she's always worried about something different, I don't think.
It don't matter what, she's always going to worry about something.
But not to play
But at the end of the day, you're giving her what she needs.
Yeah, but Dre, at the end of the, like you're right about when you're saying at the end of the day, but there is a system of argumentation, and if most men knew about argumentation, there wouldn't be a lot of that, because you could call that woman out or whoever out on what they're doing to you to make you feel like a victim, or you're making someone else a victim.
First off, I don't believe no disrespect to Joe, I don't believe in anybody making you. Nobody can make you do anything. It's your decision.
No, I ain't saying anybody can make you do anything. I'm just saying every action is a reaction. So sometimes when someone is not playing the victim, but actually a victim, some people do play the victim. But when a person, like when you heard, okay, when you're sitting there and you're talking to a certain girl, okay, you're doing certain things, and she feels a certain way. Those feelings didn't just come up just because they
Have you
came
been
up.
manipulated by somebody? Like
Thank
that?
you.
Have you ever been manipulated by somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can be made to do something. It's
No,
just psychology.
I allow them to manipulate.
No, it's psychology.
Now, when you say you allow them, that's taking ownership of the system.
It's the lack of
Not
knowledge.
choosing to
Yes.
play a victim to that. But at the same time, they were orchestrating your life.
But you do have a choice. You can say yes or no.
When you fall prey to your emotions, and this comes back to what I was saying about vulnerability, you are much more likely
That's
to
on
be a
you.
victim.
That wouldn't be them. They didn't make you do it. You
So
are making
the difference between being a victim and being strong and secure in yourself is that emotional complement. You have to actually control
your
emotional
emotions.
component.
Yes.
If you don't have that on lock,
That's not being stolen.
But you also have to know what's going on.
Controlling your emotions is not being stolen.
well, I mean, that's a more stoic perspective. Would you,
Not
would you
stoic.
agree or disagree with that? Stoicism is being in control of your emotions.
No, stoicism isn't being in control of your emotions. Stoicism is completely,
Motionless.
is emotionless. Stoicism is just balling up your emotions. That's not having control.
That's
In
not.
fact, a stoic
What is
response.
the definition for stoic, for being
I
stoic?
want to check that. because
Dry,
think about it.
emotionless.
Because this has come up several times. It's
Stoicism
different. I want to know what that
is a
is.
philosophy to be in control of your emotions. So I'm just going to look up the definition of stoicism.
Because I'd like to know this, because I've heard that in several of our conversations, and I'm trying to figure out what it means to actually be fully stoic.
Okay, so this definition of stoicism is the endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings and without complaining.
No display,
That's what I was getting at.
no display of emotions.
Right, you don't display. You don't play your hands.
Display emotions. Period.
Well, but I'm saying
Yeah, if you're angry, angry. If you're
Yeah,
happy,
if you're
happy.
happy, you're sad, be
in
sad.
the beginning of the relationship,
Express
you
that.
don't want to express everything.
No, but what that definition is saying that is that you don't express.
You
it.
don't express, exactly.
Yeah, that's like
That's why you're not venting. You're not holding it in.
Let me give you guys an
You are
example.
holding
Let me
it.
give you
You're
guys
not
an example.
expressing.
Let me give you an example.
I'm waiting.
She wants to do something nice for you. It's like your third date, right? And she says, okay, we got this picnic. Look what I made you.
And she likes you, right?
She likes you. She's into you. And you're into her. And you want to have a good time. And you get to the picnic, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh crap, you made a potato salad with the eggs in it. And I think the eggs and potato salad are gross. And I don't want to eat that potato salad. Am I going to chuck that shit at the nearest tree, or am I going to eat that shit? Right?
That's a good point.
No. Chuck that shit to the
Now, it's
next.
like a minor thing.
That's
Am
all.
I in control of my emotions? That's
If
a
you-
small example.
No,
If you
that's not
simply-
something- here, hold on, even better. She wants to do something nice for you. She sets a picnic out. Do you act happy and appreciative?
Of course.
So you do show your emotion.
That's all.
That's-
But you're stoic in showing your emotion.
No,
Because
No,
being
no.
stoic is not showing at all any emotion. Look at the definition.
I looked at the definition.
It's
It
not
just
showing
go hard.
any
Oh,
emotion.
so but you said express. You said be stoic, but you're expressing at the same time.
No, I'm saying don't
I'm
be stoic.
confused
No,
about
I'm not saying be stoic.
The thing
Oh,
about
don't be
stoicism
stoic.
Don't be
You
stoic.
have to
endurance
express
of
that.
pain or hardship.
Okay,
Okay?
keep going.
It's the endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings and without
Without
complaining.
the
You're not
display
complaining
of
about the
feelings.
bad things.
It's not
You're
just the
talking
bad
about-
things.
It doesn't say don't express.
But Mike, how many
Joy.
times have you seen a drop dead fine
This is-
woman with some nerdy guy going, hey?
The,
And he's not like, oh, I'm a
Let me
nerd.
reiterate.
Like,
It's the endurance of pain or hardship. So it's like if you have like inconveniences, if you have actual pain or hardship, and you're not displaying negative emotions,
That's
you're
not-
still displaying positive emotions because you want her to feel appreciated.
No. It's
Stoicism has nothing to do with that.
It literally
It's simply-
is not showing emotion. Look,
Look, it says without the display of feelings and without complaint. Meaning
Yeah,
if you're
feelings.
enduring pain, that it sets the case.
but
to
it's
give
not
you the
just
definition.
enduring pain.
It's showing you which case to use that in. The endurance of pain. That's the focus. So
Enduring
anything
pain-
past the
wait a
endurance of
minute.
pain or
So
hardship-
wouldn't that make you internally a
Without the
victim?
display of feelings and without.
If you're being stoic and you're taking the pain, wouldn't that make you an eternal victim?
no big.
No. The thing is, you're not playing the victim. You're just sitting there. You're like, you know what? Okay, I'm going through it right now, but you know what? I'm not gonna let them win. I'm gonna take the high road.
Okay, if somebody, I'm trying to figure this out by the definition. So if somebody hits you in the face and you take it, okay, I'm using
it's a
something
good
extreme to make a
example.
point. If someone hits you in the face and you take it, are you a victim
should you be stoic?
because you got hit? You were a victim of being
In
hit in
that
the
case,
face.
should
I
you
have
be
a
stoic?
perfect example. Jesus was stoic because he turned the other cheek.
Jesus was not
He
stoic.
was not stoic.
He was not
He
stoic.
did
at
show
all.
emotion.
He was extremely emotional.
Very.
No,
He cried out on the cross.
And I'm not a Christian.
Yeah.
He did not just endure with it, just like this is fine.
I think he did both.
It was a balance, but he was not stoic.
He was not stoic.
He expressed his emotions.
And when he got
absolutely under the greatest hardship that anyone.
when those people was gambling in the church, he got up and whooped everybody's ass.
Yeah, he whooped them all up.
That's a victimhood, though.
That was
No, no.
hardship because it was his house.
But he was showing
It wasn't
emotions.
victimhood, but it was hardship because it's his house, his father's house.
That was personal.
But look at how he handled it versus playing the victim.
Yeah, he
Like,
completely
whooped everybody's
expressed
ass.
his emotions.
He
He completely
did something
expressed.
about it.
Yeah, but he expressed his emotions.
Playing the victim is when you're pulling back and you're just taking it.
Okay, he took the cross. At any point he was up on that cross, he could have been like, all
What
right,
he said,
done.
no, Mike. What Brian said earlier made a lot of sense. There was a balance. He was stoic, but he was also expressive. He did both.
What I'm
But,
saying is
at
that
different times.
the endurance of pain and hardship without the display of feelings and without complaint is when you take something that's like a bad hand and you're just like, you know what? I can bitch about this shit or I can do something about it.
There's something
Okay,
here. No,
an
wait,
example.
hold on, Dre, hold on. There's something here. We're about to hit the nail on the head, and it's about to be revealed. I can feel it because we're getting on something that's very, very important here about playing the victim. If you're going to be stoic or you're going to be expressive. So you do both, like a balance?
Your child was wronged or bullied, and the teacher did nothing in pity. You just say, oh, well, you'll be fine. Or do you go to the school and complain?
The thing is,
But you do it in a
have
proper
to
way,
attack
right? You don't just go ham.
I don't know. I mean, have
You
you
go,
ever
you son of a bitch! Like, you do that?
well, I'm not saying you lose control, but you still express
You're gonna show some
your
emotion.
emotion. Absolutely. This
You're gonna show an emotion.
There's something here very edifying. Like I can see it.
So
It's not hitting you.
a great example of somebody that's stoic is a serial killer. He's stoic. He has no emotion.
Until he kills the person. That's when he shows his expression. Like his fantasy, because a serial killer kills. They have a fantasy, and they have to release that fantasy.
Okay, I'm talking about a guy who kills like for instance, I'm gonna give you an example of a serial killer that's stoic. H.H. Holmes, right? He killed so many women. He killed over 200 women, right? And he killed so much. At that point, you're not even angry when you're killing somebody anymore. It's like,
But I don't think we should confuse this with psychopathy, because there's no emotion.
Okay, so here's the question.
so that's worst case scenario. That's a bad example.
That's hard to relate to because most of us have. I don't think it's proper to relate to a psychopath.
There's a question here that I would want to raise. A very simple question. Is there a way to express an emotion without being a victim?
100%.
Okay. Please define it.
Define, yes. You should be able to. If a man comes up, if I'm with my woman, and a man comes up, slaps my woman in the hands. Now, if I beat the shit out of him, I'm going to the hospital and get sued. But you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to fucking get in his fucking face and
Right.
express
Because
my
that's some
emotion
John
on how
Wayne
you
shit. That's
feel.
some cowboy shit.
But that's not
Right?
being stoic.
Yeah, that's a man. That's any man
That's
should
not
do
being
that.
stoic. I'm not going to endure that hardship and not express
And
my
how would the
feelings.
woman feel? How would the woman feel that you're winning?
Like,
Secured.
She'd be like, whoop his ass.
She's secured. She feels secured.
We're not
No,
talking about
we're talking about
lying
being
and complaining. I'm
stoic,
expressing my
No, the woman will feel secured.
No, I know, but I'm saying what he said is if a man comes, you're with your woman, and he goes and smacks your woman's ass and goes, yeah, feels that ass and smacks it and all that shit. And then the woman's like, he just touched my
You're not
ass.
going to be
Like,
stoic.
Yeah, because she's vulnerable now. Then when you whoop his ass, she becomes secure.
I think it'd be like, hold on, baby. And then he go whoop the ass and then he calm.
Yeah, now she
I
feels
won't even
secure.
say, hold on, baby. I'll just go right
Now
on
she
top.
feels secure.
Oh, you think you're fucking doing it.
She feels safe now.
Right.
100%. Absolutely, yeah. But you cannot be stoic in that perspective. You can't be stoic
can't
in
be
that
emotional.
scenario.
So it has to be on the
Somebody
scenario.
attacks your child, somebody grabs your child, are you going to be stoic?
So playing the victim is it? No. So hold on. So playing the victim.
Somebody, if I punch you in the face, you going to be stoic?
No, he's gonna feel it. No, that's a bad example.
No.
That's a bad example.
Here's a better
That's
one.
natural.
I backhand the fuck out of you and call you a bitch, and you're my bitch. You gonna be stoic?
Now the thing is,
Actually, Jesus said if they hit the one side, let him hit the other.
if it's a man and a woman,
That's metaphoric. That's not physical.
No, that's
With a
physical.
backhand,
That's metaphor.
No, it's not metaphor.
It
It's
doesn't
not
literally mean.
It's literal.
It doesn't literally mean slap you in the
Yes, he
face.
does.
man,
That's a hardship, right?
I'm not talking about stoicism in all cases.
Give me a good reason. Give me a good example then where stoicism is healthy.
Right? Is it based off the situation?
Childbirth.
Well, I'm trying to understand that.
Childbirth.
Go on.
When the woman is giving birth to a child, she needs somebody to be there to be a rock through that situation. Somebody that she can hold their hand, because she is in her ultimate vulnerability. When someone else is vulnerable like that, okay?
She's looking to you. Yeah.
She's looking to you to be strong for her. And you could be looking at that situation, okay, where it's like, you could be sitting there worried. You could be like, oh my God, she could almost die. She has complications.
But you gotta be strong for her.
But you gotta stand up. You gotta be strong because you gotta help her through that. If you have somebody like your child and your child has cancer, all right, you can sit there and you can cry with them, but at the same time, there are times when you have to be like, no, you gotta take your medicine, honey. You gotta help them out. You gotta give them the medicine. You gotta make them stronger because you're trying to build them up. Or maybe sometimes
It's still expressing emotion.
I think
that emotion is a strong, balanced, confident emotion.
Stoicism
is
expressing the negative emotion all the time.
I don't think
sometimes you gotta pull it back a bit.
No, Brian, I think you hit the nail on the head. Though. You said there has to be a balance. Right? That's true for both sides. So there has to be a balance between being stoic and being emotional or expression.
I mean, I wasn't talking about stoicism in all cases. I was talking about it in like a little.
I don't even think it works in that case because stoicism by definition is still not expressive. Even if it is positive, it's still not expressive. I don't see that as an opportunity for you to be stoic, and I don't see that as being stoic. I think showing strength, showing that courage, showing that balance, showing that you're there and that you're strong is not stoicism. Not giving a fuck and just being blank face through all that. That's stoicism.
I got a good example. I got a good example. So a white church. I've been to white churches and black churches. In a white church, the members are stoic. Because when they're saying, when I hear the white pastor saying certain things out the Bible, amen.
You never been to a white Pentecostal church?
No, I'm not talking about it.
No, he's saying
I'm giving you an example.
Certain control.
I'm giving you an example of specific white churches. Right?
Specific churches.
Yes.
They're like,
yes.
There's plenty of black Catholics. And mass, you're very stoic. In mass, you're very stoic.
Listen to what I'm saying. Listen. The majority of white churches that I've been to, the Church of Christ, and a lot of them, they're stoic. They don't show emotions for the Bible scriptures. When you go to a black church, majority of black churches, right? I've been to a lot of churches. You go to a black church and they say a message. Everybody is getting up out they see jumping, clapping, shouting.
I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes. Yeah, they doing that. Yeah, he's right.
They show emotions, right? But in a white church, they're more stoic. Everybody's sitting in their seat and they listen.
And I think that came out of the
You know what I mean? So that's a good example of stoicism. They're not showing no emotions. Everybody's sitting
We're
out.
not saying who's right or wrong.
No, we're not saying who is right or wrong. I'm giving an example of stoicism.
I understand,
But can't you show emotion through your stoicism?
you can still show emotion, like
Through your language,
through your praise. Yeah, you don't have to be
referencing
emotion.
No, but we're talking about a physical example of stoicism. A physical example is that they're not responding. They're not doing anything. They're not clapping and singing while
That's not through hardship, through the definition. I don't know if that's through hardship.
So
going by the definition, it's through
going by
hardship.
definition.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, so stoicism would be like, you're going to hell. And then someone would say, you're going to hell! Like, is it in the action?
It's not. In that, telling somebody to go to hell, being stoic would just be like.
No, I'm just saying in the expression of the language.
But I don't think
You guys
that's
ever
being
seen the
stoic.
movie like The Passion of Christ?
Yeah.
So a good example will be a guy about to get life in prison. And he's like, oh well, fuck it.
Yeah.
That's stoicism.
Or he's like, I'm going to prison.
And another guy breaking down crying when he heard the jury,
That's not being stoic.
right?
Right.
So that's a good example.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's a good
perfect.
example.
So you can't get more perfect than that.
That's a good example. He's sentenced to death and you don't give a shit.
Yeah, you about to get sentenced
And
to
you
life.
show no emotion whatsoever.
No, you about to get sentenced to death.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's being stoic.
But is that person the victim, even though they were found guilty?
I guess what I'm saying
Playing the
is
victim.
stoicism
So I'm going back on what you're
was
saying about that.
victimhood. Because what it did was it separated you to the point of acceptance of the faith, rather than.
But I don't think it's right to express that being stoic now is proper. Or is a healthy way to do it.
I'm not saying it's the solution 100% of the time by any means, but I'm saying
Where is it the solution? When is it the solution?
I think it's based on the situation.
That's what I'm saying.
in all the
In what
stages,
situation?
in all the stages of grief that you go through, the final stage of grief, acceptance.
Okay, that's not stoic.
Stoicism can get you to acceptance.
I think stoicism only works.
Hold on, the final stage of grief, but what are those other four? Those other four are not stoicism at all.
Yeah.
They are stoics. They're all
No,
stoic.
they're not stoic. No,
Right.
you go
So you
through
can't go through stoicism to get to the final stage of acceptance. But you're saying that stoicism somehow gets you there quicker. That's where I don't understand.
It gets you to acceptance.
It gets you to acceptance.
Yes, because
Those other four
you ever
stages
see
of
somebody
emotion
go through
didn't.
something messed up and you're like, it is what it is.
Yeah, but Mike, hold on. There's times that people have been very emotional and they got the acceptance too by being emotional. I mean, you've seen it with women all the time. They freak out and they do all this, but they got what they wanted.
Again, I'm saying it's not in all cases.
But I'm trying to
saying
find the
it's
center
bad.
place. To that acceptance, that final stage of acceptance. What are the other four? Because I don't know them off the top of my head. Is what denial is the first stage, right?
Anger,
Then grief
denial,
or something. Yeah. Let's look them up. Because
those are all statements of grief.
I think stoicism works in a relationship when it's about the end. When she's lashing out against you.
so it's
Fighting.
denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. So here's the question. Denial isn't stoicism. You're just denying a fact. You're not even going through
You're
it.
ignoring it.
Because you're ignoring it. So
Okay,
that's not
Dre, that one time I got the parking ticket. Perfect example.
So anger. Hold on.
No. What he's saying here though is
But I want to
anger
break
and
these
all
down.
that stuff.
So denial is not stoicism.
What happened?
Anger definitely
You're
is
angry.
stoicism.
You show a lot of emotions.
No, but I'm saying when that happened, what did I do?
When I say
Did I
that,
go through that?
You denied it and then you blew up.
Yeah, I did that. What he's saying, I went through. I did that.
Yeah, you denied it and then you blew up.
And I blew up, and then I accepted it at the end, right?
Yeah.
So, like I said, denial is not stoicism. Anger, definitely not stoicism. Bargaining, definitely not stoicism. Depression is not stoicism. And then acceptance. So at what point has stoicism at all ever entered?
Acceptance. Because then at that point, you're
other
like,
four stages, denial, anger, bargaining, and depression, is what stoicism tells you not to do.
I can understand.
It tells you not to deny what's going on. It tells you not to show the emotion of anger, not to bargain with it, or reason with it, or wrestle with it, and not to feel depressed about it.
Wait, to go,
When do you
hold on. The 5 stages of grief, you have to go through these to get to acceptance.
Right.
You have to. You're gonna express denial. You have to then move on into anger. You then have to move on to bargaining. Then you have to move on to. You have to move into these emotions. You can't be stoic at any of
But
these
here,
stages.
okay, this is what I'm getting at. The core of that principle. You deal with that internally, not outwardly. Remember how you were talking about
Bargaining-
repression? I know you hate repression.
Hold on, bargaining. How do you express bargaining only internally?
Because you're going to be weighing out and reasoning out internally what to do about the situation.
is it based on the person?
Well, maybe I could do this, or maybe I could do that. But at the same time, you're sitting there, you're like, no, I can't argue with that.
Okay, maybe you can do that by yourself, but that's not being stoic.
So is it based on the person, Mike? Is it because I mean, would someone be stoic, like he was saying, like Dre was saying, you know, someone being stoic and someone showing emotion, like is it based on the person?
I mean, in essence, Stoicism was an original solution to fast track those emotions.
I understand that, and I just don't. I'm not convinced that stoicism helps you get through it. I'm just not convinced that being stoic is going to help you not feel that.
No, but
Because mainly a lot of stoicism entails carrying that weight yourself. And the minute that you open your mouth, now I'm burdening you or the other with that look. So the whole idea is that you carry it or you express it. You can't do both. Once you look at
what I'm hearing is, I think he hit the nail on the head. Balance, and also depending on the situation.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it has to fit in a way where the situation has to be right, and there's ways to balance it if it has to come to it. What's up, Dre? What do you think?
So, I'm gonna leave it up to you, viewers. What do you think stoicism is compared to being expressing your emotions? What's the difference between being expressing emotions or being stoic? If anyone of y'all know the true definition of stoicism, please let us know down in the comment section. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the Iron Truth.
That's that.